What's going on, guys? Phil here. Wanted to make another video talking about something that I thought was pretty interesting. Just kind of a fun thought experiment. So with the Year of the Griffin coming pretty close to an end here, the new set for Hearthstone comes out April 19th, and that is in about a month. With that, there's going to be both rotation to wild for the oldest three sets, as well as a core set rebalance, which means that the cards which are currently in core set may be altered in some way. And what that really means, if you don't understand exactly what all the terms mean, is that a lot is going to be changing very, very quickly. We're essentially cutting down the amount of cards in Standard from these sets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus core, down to 3 plus core plus the new set. And core is also going to be getting changed. So there is a lot happening. And with all this changing, and especially with the announcement of the core set rotation, or the core set rebalancing, there's been a lot of speculation about what exactly that's going to mean, because we've never seen a core set be rebalanced before. We had the introduction of this new core set compared to the old classic set, but that, I think, is a big enough distinction, since this was them changing how they're going to approach it forward, that it doesn't quite count. So this is going to be the first time that we really see what a core set rotation is going to look like. So yeah, with that, there's been some speculation about what cards from Wild might actually be returning, and some speculation that seems to be mostly verifiable, is that Zola the Gorgon is going to be returning. So let's pull her up really quick. Zola, right? Battlecry 2/2, choose a friendly minion, add a golden copy to your hand. Amazing card, saw a lot of play, especially in Highlander decks, which is an archetype that we don't see in Standard currently. There is no duplicate support. If you look up duplicate, and we go to Standard sets, there is 0 things here, right? But that opens up a lot of interesting opportunities, right? When people first saw that Zola was going to be back in Standard, everyone's first exact thought was to think of Reno Jackson. Reno Jackson, if you don't know, is a 6-mana 4/6 battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, fully heal your hero. And it was one of the most meta-defining and amazing cards that has ever been printed. And it has a lot of fan support. Highlander as an archetype is extremely fun, it's extremely unique. Every game's a little bit different because your deck is nowhere near as consistent as a typical deck, because you have to run twice the amount of cards. And so there was a lot of talk about whether or not Reno Jackson will be reappearing in the new set. And I'm here to make the case for or against why Reno Jackson should not be in Standard. I guess that means I'm against it, huh? But here's the case. Here's a little bit of details about why I think Reno should not be coming back in, and, maybe my rationale leads you to believe that he should be coming back in. And so if you want, when you're done with the video, leave me a comment trying to, explain your position, say if you agree with me or not. I think that'd be a fun conversation to have. Anyways, with this rotation, the game is going to be losing a lot of tools that help combo decks, right? And with the reveal of the Colossal Minion mechanic, it seems like we're trying to push the meta away from combo decks. This last mostly year, but I would say at least 6 months, has been very combo deck oriented. There was Owl Warlock, Garrity Rogue, all the Demon Hunters. There's like Il'gynoth Demon Hunter and the Spell Damage Demon Hunter and the Jace Demon Hunter. And now there's Druid stuff with Kazakhstan's, and there's just a lot of combos going around, right? And if you look into the past, even before, if you look back just when Scholomance and Outland were around, right? Even then, our meta was filled with combo decks. So I'm planning on making a whole other video kind of exploring the design behind the cards that led to us having such a long combo meta, because typically in Hearthstone's past we have not had a meta that is very kind to combo decks. The team has typically really pushed to actually disincentivize players to play OTK decks, and in the past year there's been a lot of design decisions which have kind of contradicted that, whichever word there fits better. But yeah, so some notable losses that I pulled out of cards that we're going to be losing that are mostly used in combo decks, right? So obviously they have their uses everywhere, but they are mostly used in combo decks. Would be Skull of Gul'dan and Spectral Sight. Those are two of the main draw engines that Demon Hunter decks have used in the past. Spectral Sight is extremely important currently in any build because we're running the quest line, and the quest line requires us to draw cards, and that's 2 mana draw 2 cards, right? So losing that's going to be pretty big. We lose Germination and Lady Anacondra, so that knocks out any of the nature kind of druid combos. Those ran around pretty big for a while. Incanter's Flow's gone, so Rip Mage. Moarg Artificer is gone, so that helped a lot in both Warlock and Demon Hunter combo decks. Glide is gone, so once again, the quest line Demon Hunter's getting hit pretty bad. Lightning Bloom is gone. That wasn't purely a combo tool, obviously, but it is enough mana gain, like enough ramp, like it's so drastic that it's used in combo decks, and it's core to the Shaman Bolnar Yashiraj of Decay, right? So I decided to include that as a notable combo loss. We lose Mozaki and Mage. We lose Il'gynoth, so that's another Druid or another Demon Hunter archetype gone. We lose Expendable Performers plus the 2 mana guy. What's the 2 mana guy called? Fellfire Deadeye. That has also seen a lot of play as a alternate win condition in Demon Hunter combo decks. We lose a lot of Darkmoon Faire Druid spells, which were pretty much core to the class at this point. If you go and look at Druid's Darkmoon spells, Guidance is incredible, Resizing Pouch is incredible, Guess the Weight saw play, Lunar Eclipse sees play, Solar Eclipse is almost like the most important card in the entire deck, Cenarian Ward. This combo alone hampers Druid's combo and like ramp abilities. Like they don't have as much of a payoff now, right? So that's huge. We lose Dunk Tank for the aforementioned Yashiraj Shaman deck. We lose Ticketus, which isn't in itself really a combo card. It's actually kind of a combo deck killer card, but I thought it was worth mentioning because it's important in this conversation. One that hasn't seen play in a long time, but is still always a potential force, is ETC, God of Metal and Warrior. That saw play for a long time. And then in Priest, we lose Insight, which means that the Sethic Veil Weaver, Nazmani Bloodweaver, we actually lose all of those. We lose basically the entirety of Miracle Priest, which I would say falls into the category of combo deck. So as you can tell, we lose a lot of pieces, right? And you would think with hearing how much we're losing, that means that we're going to be pushed more into a minion-based meta. And I think that is true. There's going to be a camp that says, well, you know, combo decks are still going to function. There's combos that aren't ruined. We still have Jace. Charge Warrior will still exist in its entirety. Owl Warlock will still exist in its entirety. Stuff like that. So it's not like we're removing every combo deck, right? We're not just annihilating an archetype, but we're losing a lot of major players. And especially with all the Demon Hunter hits, like, I don't know what Demon Hunter's going to be doing in the new set. They need a lot of help, or maybe they're just going to have a little bit of time out of the limelight because they've been around as a very important meta focus for a long time. But when you look at what we're losing in comparison for like notable removal options, which would help counteract what's going to become this minion meta, we're not losing that much. Like, we're losing in Demon Hunter Immolation Aura, so that hits all the Demon Hunter decks, and that's just a very powerful AoE. We're losing Libram of Justice and all the Libram cards, so like Paladin's a little bit fucked, but that's a conversation for a different time. But we're losing Libram of Justice, right? And that's a huge, huge tool, especially in combination with stuff like City Tax, if we were to be into more like a minion control-based meta, you know, a traditional aggro versus control meta, rather than having this hyper aggro versus combo meta that we're currently in. We're losing Soulmere and Priest. That's a huge, huge board clear that obviously only affects very heavily minion-centric decks. But the fact that Priest is not going to have access to that is really, really good. Because Priest is one of the classes that's very good at holding down aggro decks. Obviously, they're all about healing and sustain and making sure that they live. So them losing their biggest AoE tool is a very good mark for our minion meta. We're also losing Bladestorm, all the Soul Fragment cards, and you might be thinking, if you haven't played in a while or if you don't follow the game too much, that Soul Fragments haven't been meta for a long time. That is kind of true, but especially with the rise of Owl Warlock, Soul Fragments we're seeing a lot more play. Currently, you run Spirit Jailer and occasionally the 2-mana deal 3 shuffle Soul Fragments in Demon Hunter lists, just because having the Soul Fragments allows you to draw more with your quest. So that's, pretty important that we're losing those. For Mage, we're losing a lot of cheap spells. If we go to Scholomance particularly, Brain Freeze, Devolving Missiles, and Combustion have been huge players in Mage to allow them to survive and combo out. We're losing Lord Barov, which is massive for Warrior. We're losing Coerce, which is kind of massive for Warrior, but more saw play in Rogue. We're losing Hysteria in Priest, which it's about time. That card is absolutely busted. It's been nerfed like 3 times, and it's still insane. We're losing Minefield in Warrior. That's one that I felt a lot of people kind of missed out on. What set is that in? Darkmoon, I think? Yeah, dude. Minefield, if you've been playing the Control Charge Warrior with Captain Galvanizer or whatever the fuck his name is. What's the 6-mana guy called? Captain Galvanger. I was close. The Minefield is one of your most incredible tools. We're also losing Sword and Board. That's integral in that deck. So there's a lot of powerful removal going away. And all of this is to give you the context around what we might be looking to go into, right? So based on my analysis, a lot of combo decks are dying out. There's still going to be some, so we're never going to be completely dead of combo decks, right? There's always going to be some, and that's important for the metagame. But we're going to be looking at a much more minion-focused, traditional Hearthstone experience. And if that's going to happen, what would bringing Reno Jackson back from the dead really mean for the game, right? I think it'd be very interesting because we could try to have some no-duplicate synergy. There could be more no-duplicate cards printed, and that's a very interesting path to take. However, we've seen nothing in the reveal so far that suggests they're going to be doing that in this set, which is another kind of mark against them bringing back Reno. Along with the fact that we haven't seen any other no duplicate support, which to me that means that we're going to kind of X out that as a talking point. If we haven't seen any other rationale as to why he should come back, him coming back on his own does not make a lot of sense. But even in a world where we negate that point entirely, right, a full heal to 30 isn't really the kind of effect that I want to be seeing in Standard in the near future, particularly when the past meta has been in such a place where most of the non-aggro competitive decks can successfully one-turn kill, right? So if a significant portion of your controlling part of the meta, because it's the non-aggressive version, right? If they can consistently deal, say, 50 damage per combo, Reno doesn't have very much of a place in that meta, right? Let's say that every single combo deck instead could deal a maximum of 24. So you always know if you're above 24, you can never be comboed. So you save him as a tool in those matchups for after they try to combo you, right? Then he has a very obvious place. But if a deck does 50 damage and you can only heal to 30, but you probably haven't taken any because they deal all their damage in one turn, Reno becomes a completely dead card in those matchups, and then he becomes only a tool for control-based decks to beat aggro decks more consistently, right? But, and this is more of a thinking long-term kind of issue, right? If right after rotation, when there's less cards available, we brought back Reno, that would be more okay. Because to make a successful combo deck, it has to be very streamlined and consistent. We're removing a bunch of combo tools, so that obviously makes it more difficult. So combo decks are going from like this power level to like here already. Then, if you're also having to make your new combo deck include Reno because you want that versus this minion meta that we're saying is going to develop. Then its consistency drops even further because you can't run duplicates anymore. Or if you're running duplicates, you have to be very careful about how many you run. That there's always that gambit that people play with running like two of the most important removals or some of the same combo pieces, stuff like that. But as more cards are going to be added, like we have to think ahead too, right? Combo decks are only going to potentially get stronger. Their position in the metagame might not, right? This is all speculation like a year from now. But as we add more cards, combo decks will get more tools, which means they will become more and more consistent. And if they ever reach a point where a Highlander combo deck is even not saying viable sounds bad because you can make a lot of bad stuff viable, but if it ever becomes at all normalized that a combo deck is a Highlander deck that also can run Reno, that is not a deck you want to exist in a healthy metagame. And all of that revolves around the fact of Reno just existing in the first place. So I think that as we reset Standard, he would be an interesting thought to have. But as you continue to think long term, he just becomes way, way, way too limiting in design space. He means that minions that you're going to have to publish for aggressive decks have to be like overstated or very fast, like very quick, or he just kind of doesn't have any value. And then if he doesn't have much value, why are we wasting a core set rotation slot on him, right? I hope that kind of makes sense. There's also a small note to be added that we already know for essentially a fact that Zola is going to be in the core set, and I don't think that, like, on top of the fact that I don't think Reno should come back in general, adding the Reno-Zola combo seems even more ludicrous because it just exacerbates the problem. It just doubles the problem, essentially, because it, you know, if you can have one full heal against aggro, you may as well have two, and then you run into the same issue of it just matters how prevalent combo decks are to decide how, you know, oppressive Reno actually is, how useful Reno actually is. And as a final little, like, black check mark, like, little note of why he probably will not be coming back, most of the time that we see League of Explorers cards, like, Finley's already been revealed. We've never seen a League of Explorer not come with the other League of Explorers. So this might be different, you know. Maybe we don't see all four of them come back, but Finley's already been revealed, so I would say that bumps the chances up that there's going to be a Reno card reveal at some point. And if you're gonna make a new Reno, why would you want to overshadow him by bringing back the old Reno at the same time? That just doesn't really kind of make a lot of sense to me. In conclusion, though, I think that the original Reno Jackson is always going to have a very special place in my heart, in players' hearts. He's the core of what Highlander decks want to be, right? He's the staple. He's the first thing you think of when you think of a Highlander deck. And while it would be fun to see Highlander potentially make a comeback at some point in Standard, I don't believe that his effect will ever make it back into Standard again. He is so limiting, and you can just print, like, worse or more incremental healing options. Like, yeah, he's big and flashy, but would he really be as big and flashy if he came back as when he originally came out? Like, he was groundbreaking when he came out. Does he really have that same appeal, that same, like, oomph to him if he comes back? I'm not too sure that he does. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think I'm right or wrong, or, you know, what some of the points as to why you would either like to or not like to see Reno come back would be. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks.